Ranger Nation, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reviewing RE0, Life Starting in Another World, and I've got to admit, this anime is one of my favorites. I kind of stopped watching after the first couple of episodes, and I kind of really wanted to kind of catch up. And I kind of dropped the ball and didn't go back to it, but I'm so glad that I actually was able to watch all of this now because I'm caught up, I'm in the zone, and I've got to admit, this is a great anime. But I will say to Funimation, is it Funimation? Fun Animation? I've always called it Fun Animation. Anyway, you dropped the ball. It's not on your website. It's not on your streaming services because I really wanted to watch the entire series after watching this first part from all the anime. Oh, I've got to admit, this is such a cool thing. RE0 is one of these animes that really make you want to watch the next one over and over again. I found myself currently like going, oh, just one more episode, and then 3 or 4 more episodes in, I was like, right, time to put it down. But I was so engrossed in the anime all the time that I knew exactly that the story was making me want to continue on watching it because of the characters, because of the plot line, because of the silly antics. It's that good. But if you want to see more of these videos, if you want to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as the cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop, and leave a comment just to help the channel grow. There'll be more videos like this. Let's just jump straight into it. So I also wanted to bring up the packaging for the collector's edition as well as the standard edition. Now, if you just want the standard edition, it does look really nice. I really like the color scheme and it works really, really well. I just don't know why they decided to go with that sort of kind of like everyone's asleep type theme. But if you're like me and you like collector's editions, then I really am digging the RE0 kind of like collector's edition. The way that you get 2 discs, you get a reversible kind of art, but I really love like where you get Subaru and you get Amelia. They look really, really cool and it does stand out. So if you're like me, I would recommend getting the collector's edition more. It would probably be a little bit more pricey, but it's definitely worth it. The story follows one main character, and in a way, I'm kind of glad his name's really easy to pronounce, which is Subaru Natsuki, or just Subaru, which is easy enough for me. Like, everyone had really easy names. Like, you had Ren and Rom. Now, it's not Ram, but it's spelled Rom. And then, obviously, Emilia, Puck, Beatrice. The characters were so easy to remember, and each person had their unique ability and uniqueness to this show. The story follows Subaru, who leaves a convenience store. He's got a bag of shopping because I think he's going to play video games or watch anime or read manga all night, so he's got stuff from the shop. But as soon as he leaves the kind of corner store, he's thrown into this whole different world. And basically it's an Isekai anime. And I think this was kind of maybe the first one that I'd seen, maybe the first one in its kind of genre to kind of spark it up. If it's not, let me know down below in the comments and tell me which one is. While Subaru is in this world, he doesn't know what's going on. He kind of thinks it's a dream, but then he realizes that he's been sent to another world and he is really excited about it. Now, normally you would think that as soon as you're in this sort of kind of environment, you'd have some really cool powers straight away. We don't find out about his magic powers much later on near the kind of end of the first part. But we find out that he has a special ability of when he's killed, he respawns back to the exact same point of where he entered. It does change, I think, at least twice, mainly when he's completed main tasks or a main part of that story arc. Now, in this first part, there are 3 story arcs, which I'm going to go through in this review. But he will instantly go back to that point and where everyone will forget. So if he made a load of friends, if he did one thing, he will go back to that same point and everyone will forget him. So it's basically like a big restart switch. Now, I'm kind of glad that he does have major kind of respawn points. It's not like he could go through the entire anime and he gets killed and he's sent back all the way back to the beginning. Because I think that if this kept happening over and over and over again, the amount of stuff that you'd have to do, even if you did like kind of a time skip, would actually get to Subaru. And you do see it kind of over the course of the anime, but it would probably destroy him to the point where you'd be like, oh, I just don't care. It's really fascinating, and it's a story that I actually generally really like. As the story progresses, you meet so many different characters. Each one has their unique roles, their normal pace, and they're completely different than normal. And I think that this kind of added to the magic of the anime because it didn't feel boring whatsoever. So as I mentioned before, there are 3 main story parts. Number 1 is where he meets Amelia. Amelia has silver hair and she's a kind of half human, half elf, which Subaru falls in love with straight away. In this first story arc, Amelia has had her insignia stolen from her. This is able to get her into the royal court for kind of a royal election much later on, and that's where the anime ends for the first part there. As the episodes kind of carry on, you see that Subaru kind of like, he makes mistakes, he dies quite a lot, and he respawns back, but he kind of learns from it, and this is what a lot of characters don't do. Like, they instantly go, aha, I know what to do, or they kind of, it takes a long time to kind of like realize this and what's going on. In the second story arc, you find that there are more characters, that he continuously dies because of, I think it's a witch's curse or something, but he can't figure out what's happening, and he keeps kind of dying and going back, or some other characters will die. And this is a really interesting, more in-depth story than the first part, which I'll explain later on in this review. And then kind of the third arc, which is the one that just starts off, is where Emilia goes off to the royal court, Subaru kind of follows, and that's all you kind of know because it then leads into something else. So let's talk about the overview. There are tons of stories going on in this. So the main thing, as I mentioned before, is when Subaru dies, he realizes what he's got to do, and it goes back. Now, not a lot of animes kind of deal with this. I'm looking at you, Suzumiya. Oh, you know what you did wrong. When Subaru goes back in time or respawns, you don't get that kind of boring part, that kind of, oh, why am I watching this? He learns from his mistakes multiple times, and each kind of interaction is completely different. Some people he will meet in one part, but he hasn't done in another, and it kind of all pieces together. The story has a really good pace in this. And I've got to admit, like, when I started rewatching this from the beginning, even though I'd seen some of the episodes, it didn't feel boring at all, and that's what I generally like in anime. If it can keep me entertained, if it can make me want to come back and watch it and not get bored, then it's something completely different, and it works really, really well. And this anime had me wanting to watch more and more all the time, which I thought was perfect. There are times where I couldn't stop watching. One of the examples is Rem. Rem is this amazing character that you kind of really warm up to really quickly. You know, at the very beginning, you don't know what's going on, and then all of a sudden she's kind of an assassin, she has this power, and then later on when she's trying to save Subaru from all these curses, she has to kill all these like kind of werewolves type things, weredogs, she goes absolutely berserk because of her power. And I was so entranced in watching this because I wanted to know more. So when it kind of cut up, they were like, we've got to stop Rem. And then it'd be like, you see her crazy face, and then it'd go, next episode. You were like, I have to watch this. I have to watch the next episode. And that to me just made this even better. One thing that is really fascinating in this is the fact that the way that Subaru is this really happy, like kind of go-lucky character. But over time, him resetting, going back, dying, losing blood, everything like that really took its toll on him, and you could see it. And that's what I generally was like, oh wow, you know, it felt like he wouldn't give up. Like there was a lot kind of pushing his spirit, but his spirit is kind of like busting through and kind of wanting to shine, you know, to make everyone happy. This is something that you don't normally see in many animes. Also, the kind of relationships that change. So at the very beginning, when Subaru meets Emilia, you know, the first time he's made a friend, she's dead happy. The second time she doesn't know him, and he kind of does things differently that makes her not like him. But then all of a sudden later on, like they all become friends, he falls in love more and more, and that sort of kind of build up was a lot different. When he got to the third arc and when he introduced a major big plot line, I was like, right, ready for the next episode, can't wait. And it was like, disc end. I was like, no, what happens? I need to know. And that's when I looked at Fun Animation. Not there. Damn it, funny. Damn it, funny. Let's talk about the animation. The animation to me was not amazing. It wasn't bad. It had that kind of spark to it that was kind of interesting, but it felt like it was in a transition stage. So where a lot of anime studios have changed, they kind of moved it along. I felt like they were kind of doing this, but I loved the emotion in the faces, the way that characters were. Everything to me was perfect in this anime, even though I think it could have been a little bit better. So it wouldn't be perfect, but it could have been a little bit better. In the second part of the story, where you see the happiness drain from Subaru quite a lot, even when Rem dies in it as well, the anger that is in Ram's face, oh dear God, it was just pure like anger, and that's what I generally really like to see. So to me, I liked the animation, I liked what it was, and especially the art style. The writing to me was something slightly different. I generally really liked the way that the three arcs were kind of told, the characters were written, the way that Subaru would be kind of pervy at times, but then kind of not at the same time, where he was dedicated, he knew exactly what he wanted. And the way that the other characters interacted with him as well worked really, really well. I really like the fact that he didn't always freak out. He didn't go like, oh my god, this has happened, I need to change this. It was bam, 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 straight away. I think what really got to me was when Subaru makes a promise to Emilia, where it's like, she says, you gotta stay here, please, for me, do it for me. And he's like, okay, yeah, cool, I will. And then all of a sudden breaks that promise. I found that kind of annoying, because if it was the other way around and Subaru had said, Emilia, you stay here, and she didn't, he'd get really kind of like, oh no, she didn't listen to me type thing. And that really irritated me. I really like the way the characters Rem and Ram, it's really weird because it says Rom or Ram. It's like, it's completely different. So I apologize if we got her name wrong. But I felt like their characters were written okay. They were a little bit annoying at first when they keep saying certain words over and over again. I didn't like it that much. It just felt a bit kind of weird. I did like the way it kept you in suspense, where you think maybe things would happen the same sort of way over and over again. Like, it's the same sort of story. But when things went differently, different paths, the characters changed a little bit, that's when it kind of piqued my interest, where I was like, oh, the writing of this is actually really good. I think my favorite part of this is when Rem goes absolutely crazy and you see the kind of anger, the bloodlust in her eyes. And I really like that. Also, Subaru trying to figure out what was killing him in the second part. That was cool. That I generally thought was really well written. And then it was more like, oh, I bet that dog's the culprit. And it was. And you're like, holy crap. But I love the way that all worked. Now, one thing is, the only person in this that remembers what's happened is Beatrice. And, she's an annoying character, but I like the fact that one person knows exactly what's happening in all of it. But I generally think that it was well written, it was well received, and I can't wait to see the next one, including season 2, which I know has just been announced. Let's talk about the characters. Now, this video is getting really long, more than normal, but there's so much in this that I want to talk about. So let's quickly talk about the characters. Now, Subaru I liked. I thought he was a very relatable character. He was very loving, he was very kind of supportive, and he was a little bit of a perv, but not too much to kind of put you off. He loved his friends. Obviously, he loves Emilia, and I really can't wait to see if they two get together, or if it's just literally, it's just Rem liking Subaru, and that's it. I do think, though, I did get annoyed that in the first arc of it, she's really important, and in the second arc, you don't really see her that well, but I generally think that's because they wanted to build up other characters. Pretty much as I said about Emilia, I feel like she was a decent character, but they forgot her a little bit later on. Wasn't too happy about that. But I do think she's going to have a really big part to play in the next part of it. Rem and Ram. Generally good characters. I really like Ram. I think she is the best girl in this. I did find their characters a little bit annoying where they had to repeat themselves a few times, as I said previously. But I really love their backstory on how they got their powers, with the horns. I love the kind of flashback. I really like the way that Rem went absolutely crazy. But I did think that Ram was going to be more of the kind of more powerful character, but I'm glad that she wasn't. And when they kind of like talk about it much later on, she's like, oh, I have no power, or I'm not as strong as her. I have wind power, and that's it. I generally thought that was kind of cool. But when obviously Rem dies and Ram goes absolutely crazy with her wind power, dear God, I generally thought she was going to rip everything apart, that her power would have just exploded everywhere, and she was just going to kill everyone. Beatrice, right, okay. She, to me, is one of the most annoying characters in this. She is a really cool character, but I generally think that she is really annoying. I think it's when she keeps saying suppose after every sentence. It's like, oh, I think I'm going to go home, I suppose, or something along the lines of that. That really did irritate me, and I kind of wish they would get rid of that, because even if it's a quirk, it just generally really annoyed me. Because I think at some point she says something, but it doesn't work really well with it. It just kind of annoyed me. Her characteristics of her being like kind of a younger, bratty sister, generally really liked that. Thought it was amazing, and I generally really wanted to see more of this character. And I also love the fact that she enters a contract with Subaru to protect him, and she's actually ridiculously powerful. Also, as I mentioned before, she's the only one that can remember him and exactly what he's done. And that I do like, rather than having like no one know whatsoever. What made this interesting to me are my final thoughts. I generally like this. It's an anime that I could watch over and over and over again. I think the storyline was well built. I think there was a lot more to it, and there was a lot that I could take away from this, which I generally really liked. The idea of when you die, you go back to the same spot again and you have to redo the things. I thought that was something decent. I've never seen it in any other anime, and this was my first introduction to Isekai anime. I generally liked all the characters, the way that the story was built, the character building, where you were kind of wondering what happens with the guy who owns the manor, especially with Ram, god damn it. I generally really like that because I kind of want to know more about more of those two characters together. I did like the way that the second arc produced. I just didn't like the fact that Amelia was kind of taken away from everything. That really annoyed me, but I also did like the kind of humor in this anime as well. I loved Demon Rem more than anything because I just loved the way that she went through everything straight away. She didn't care, she was strong, you know, it was the love that she had. And also, when Subaru does turn up, I also like the fact that she just went for him as well. Like, it wasn't just a, I'm gonna hold back, it was a whole massive, I'm going to destroy you. And that's what I generally really liked. So it wasn't just all nicey nice. It was, she's going to kill everybody because of a demon lust and demon bloodlust, whatever, is just kind of going for it all the time. This anime is out right now. Links are going to be in the description down below so you can check it out. I highly recommend it. Watching it, whatever, just do it. You will not be disappointed. So Ranger Nation, I'm going to leave it there. What are your thoughts on this? Have you seen the anime? Have you not? Let me know down below. Do you think Rem is best girl? Let me know down below in those comments. And if you've liked this video, then like, favorite, comment, and consider subscribing. Hit that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. And as always, Ranger Nation, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.